Welcome everyone to Guided Notes with Mr. Weeb. Right now we are on our lesson 4 of our integers unit. Today we'll be talking about subtracting integers by taking away. And the goal is for you to be able to say, I can subtract integers by thinking about taking away. I hope you have your pencil with you and maybe some colored pencils as well. You've got your earbuds, you've got your guided notes ready to go, and let's start by thinking about 2 ways of thinking about subtraction. Now, the last time we talked about subtracting, we touched on adding on. This is the one that we covered first. That's where one string was longer than another, and we want to know how much longer. That is a question of difference. You want to know the difference between the two. So you take the longer one, you subtract the shorter one, and you get an answer like this. Not too difficult. On a number line, it looks like this. You start essentially you're asking how much longer, how far is it from this term to this term? Or how much do I need to add to the 2 to get to the 3? And the answer is 1. So on a number line, it looks like this. What do I need to add to the 2 to get to the 3? Well, I need to add 1. And the answer is right there. However, today we're going to be focusing on taking away. This is the one that we grew up with. We probably are more familiar with this one. I have 3 apples and Santa took 2. What does that look like in an equation? Well, I had 3, I took 2 away, I end up with 1. Again, I start with 3, take 2 away, and I end up with 1. Let's look at some more examples of this. Okay, so the first example we're going to look at is -8 minus -3. So we start with 8 negatives. So I'm going to draw 8 negatives counters here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'm taking away 3 negatives. So what do? All I need to do is take these 3 away. And what am I left with? I'm left with 5 negatives. So I would write down -5 as my answer. Now, on a number line, you need to know this, that subtracting a negative, so write in subtracting, a negative is like adding a positive. It's like when you say, I don't not like going to Disneyland. It's like you're saying, I like going to Disneyland. So you have to know when you subtract a negative, when you see these side by side, you know that you're actually adding. You're taking -8 and you're adding 3. So it would look like this. You start at -8, you add 3, you end up with -5. Let's have a look at the next one. 4 minus 5. Okay, so now I'm starting with positive, so I have to write 4 positive counters. Okay, now I need to take away 5 positive counters, but here's where it's kind of tricky, right? I don't have 5 to take away. But if you remember from our first lesson, we can actually represent the number 4 in different ways if we just add a 0 pair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 0 pair here. Okay, it's still showing me 4. That's how many I have, because this right here, that's a 0 pair. I've added 0. It's like saying 4 plus 0, still 4. Okay, but now I'm showing 5 positive counters that I can take away now. I'm going to take these 5 away, and what am I left with? I'm left with -1. That's what it is. So on a number line, it looks like this. You start at 4, and now we're going to the left because we're taking away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going taking away 5, and there's your answer right there, -1. Let's have another look at another example. Here we go. We have -4 minus -8. And if you're paying attention, subtracting a negative is like adding a positive. Write that down. All right, we start with 4 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we want to take away 8 negatives. I don't have 8 negatives to take away, but I can just add as many as I need. As long as they're in 0 pairs, I still have -4 here, right? It's -4 plus 0. Here's my -4. Here's 0, because these are just a bunch of 0 pairs. So now I do have enough negative counters here that I can take away 8 of those negative counters. And what am I left with? I'm left with 4 positive counters. So the answer is 4. On a number line, it looks like this. You start at -4 and you're adding 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Anytime you're adding numbers, that means you're going to the right on a number line. Let's keep going and look at some more examples. All right, here we start with -5. So let's just write down our 5 negative counters. And now we take away 6. We do not have 6 positive counters to take away here. So we have to make some 0 pairs. Okay? Let's make enough positives that we can take away 6 positives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as long as we just have them as 0 pairs, there's not going to be a problem. So now when we take those 6 away, we're left with 11 negatives. So our answer is -11. On a number line, we start with -5. Okay, and since we are subtracting, we are going to the left. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we end up at -11. Okay, let's look at some word problems. If it is 5 degrees outside and the temperature will drop 17 degrees in the next 6 hours, how cold will it get? Okay, so if we start at 5 degrees and then the temperature is going to drop, that means we're taking 17 degrees away. What will we get to? Okay, on counters, we're starting with positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we are taking 17 away. We're taking away 17 positives. So we need 12 more positives to take away. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And as long as we make these all 0 pairs, then we'll be fine. Now we can take 17 positives away. Here's 5 and 12 makes 17. And we end up with -12. So the answer here is -12. On a number line, we start at 5, and now we're going to the left by 17. So I can count, well, here's -5, -10, -15, 16, 17. So this is -17, and we end up with -12. Let's look at one last word problem. Josie owes Chuck $10. He decides to forgive $7 of her debt. How much does Josie have now? So let's start with how much we have at the beginning. Josie has -$10, right? That's a debt. She doesn't have that money. But then Chuck, out of the kindness of his heart, says, I'm going to take away $7 of that debt. So he's saying, I'm going to take away $7 of that debt. He's going to take away that negative amount. And so she's going to have less debt, but she's still going to have a little bit of debt to Chuck. She's still going to owe him a little bit of money. So how does that look with counters? Well, she starts with 10. Okay, we've got 10 negative counters, and now we have to take away 7 of those negative counters. So we take away 5, 6, 7, and we end up with -3. She still owes Chuck $3. She's still in debt for $3. On a number line, it looks like this, where you start at -10 and you're adding 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're adding 7 here, and the answer is right there. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.